The iPhone 16 with its new design on the back, but also the internals are a little bit different than the iPhone 15. So I'm going to do the battery replacement on this device, show you how to remove the battery and reinstall the battery. Number one, the first thing that you need to do is to remove the screws at the bottom of the device near the charging port. To remove the back glass, you do not necessarily have to remove the screws, but when you remove the screws, it makes it a lot easier to remove the bottom portion of the back glass first, and then you're going to work your way up and completely detach the back glass of this iPhone 16. Once the back glass has been heated to the proper temperature, you need to have a suction cup on the back and then pull slightly. You're going to see that the back is going to detach itself from the frame of the device. So this is exactly why I put the time that I took to heat and also the specification on the heat gun. All the tools that I will be using in this video will be listed in the description. Now that I have inserted a guitar pick between the back glass and the frame of the device, it is time to reheat the back glass again, but this time only 15 seconds. So the next part is to take the guitar pick and start moving it around on all four corners, starting with the left and the right. Then you're going to move at the top, work your way, hit the top of the iPhone 16, and then use the guitar pick to detach the back glass from the body of the device. So the side where you have the volume buttons and the action button is the only part where you have to be very careful because there is a cable there and you do not want to insert the guitar pick far inside so that it can touch that cable or damage it. Only the small tip of the guitar pick needs to be inserted and going around the device. Finally, the back glass has been completely detached out of the frame and you can see now the new battery for the iPhone 16. Very similar looking to the iPhone 15 battery. Before I proceed, I need to remove two screws that are going to expose all the flex cables that are connected to the motherboard on that area, especially the battery flex cable. Then I'm going to turn off the iPhone 16, then disconnect the battery cable. With this new iPhone, there is a plus and minus on top of the cable for the battery, so you cannot miss it. Now it is time to disconnect the battery cable out of the motherboard. You can do it with your finger or use a plastic tool to disconnect the battery cable. Then next I removed the cable for the wireless external microphone and flashlight connected on the back glass. So for everything about the back glass of this iPhone 16, how to remove the component attached to the back glass and reassemble everything on a new back glass without that component, I made a dedicated video that you can find the link in the description. So now that everything is out of the way, we can start working on the battery. With the battery on the iPhone 16, they did something different. In order to remove the battery, everything that I did previously is still valid. But with this one, you need a 9-volt battery in order to help you remove the battery of the iPhone 16 without too much struggle. So here with the iPhone 16, like the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 14, you can use alcohol to soften the double-sided tape on the back of the battery. I still believe that solution is valid and still working with the iPhone 16, but I'm going to try what Apple has designed new for us and see how well it works. So here I have to be honest, if I didn't watch any of the other videos about this stuff, I will have used my preferred method using alcohol to remove the battery. Those other guys who did this with a 9-volt battery, I'm not sure how they found out that this is possible or this is something new. Maybe they get access to manuals before they do their teardowns, which is something that I do not. So everything is set up. The 9-volt battery negative cable is on the bottom, attached to one of the big screws at the bottom, and the 9-volt positive cable is the one that I'm holding, and it is in contact with that shiny spot on the battery near the bottom. So for this one, you just need to do this and wait 1 minute and 30 seconds per what iFixit did, and you can see after 1 minute and 22 seconds mine was already ready. So right after that, you can see that the battery is moving. You just take the device and toss the battery out. Here's the battery for the iPhone 16. You can see there is a small metallic shape like a U on the back of the battery. On the front and back of that metallic plate, there is double-sided tape. So how does this work? The 9-volt battery negative cable was attached at the bottom of the device on one big screw, and then that negative cable is going through and sending that negative volt through the chassis of the device, the frame of this iPhone 16. Then the frame of the iPhone 16 is in contact with the metallic plate on the back of the battery. So at that moment, you know that there is negative 9 volt coming from the 9 volt battery on the outside and being on the back of the battery. And then you take the positive cable of the 9 volt battery and attach it to the front. The front is the other side of this metallic plate. So it is very easy. If you take a battery and you have a wire crossing the negative and positive of that battery, the wire is going to get heated. So this is the same principle here. This small metallic plate on the back of the battery is going to get heated. Then soften the double-sided tape on the back of the battery. Here again, it is very similar to what I did with the iPhone 14 Pro. When I did the battery replacement, I heated the back of the device in order to have heat going through the back and being on the back of the battery, which is going to soften the double-sided tape, and then I can remove the battery with my tool. Essentially the same thing, using heat to soften the double-sided tape and remove the battery. So can you transfer this on a new battery and use it again? Yes, it is possible, but a good battery should come with this already attached to the back. But as for me, I'm going to put it back on the back of this battery and put it inside the device without any new double-sided tape or any new glue and test it again to make sure that it is working again. For the reinstallation, simply align the battery cable to where it has to be on the motherboard and then drop the battery inside the frame. Apply some pressure for the double-sided tape to stick to the back of the device. So as you can see, I'm waving the device with a lot of force. This should be enough for the battery to go out of the device, but it is very sticky and sticking to the frame of this iPhone 16. So it can be reused. So right after that, I simply restarted doing the same thing. I attached the negative cable on the bottom and then the positive cable where it has to go on the battery, and I was able to successfully remove the battery without any issues. So now it is time to install the battery for the final time and make sure that it is sticking to the back of this iPhone 16. Then after that, I reinstalled the screw that I removed in order to have a good grounding point for the negative cable, negative 9 volt. So now after all these manipulations, I need to test the device to make sure that it is working properly. So I'm just going to turn the iPhone 16 on and see if everything is alright. So no issues, no problem with this iPhone since the battery is the original battery with the serial number that is on the motherboard. If this was another battery, it will raise an issue saying that the battery is not genuine or cannot say if the battery is genuine or not. So with this iOS 18, they fixed something that we have been complaining for years. Even if the part comes from another phone from Apple, the same model, it is going to say not genuine. At least now you can repair the part with your smartphone and make sure that it is working as genuine with all the features and nothing disabled. So I added a small line of B7000 on top of the double-sided tape. It is in excellent condition after I removed the back. So before I close, I blew some air on the camera and also on the camera lens. Then I closed the back of this iPhone 16. At least for now, the genuine and non-genuine part has been fixed by Apple. You just need to repair the part to your motherboard. If you buy something online and the seller is saying that his stuff is original, it comes from another iPhone. If it doesn't pair like it should, so you know that he is lying or he is selling you something that is not genuine. So as far as the removal process for the battery using a 9 volt battery, it makes things a little bit easier, especially for those who are handy with repairing stuff. But for people who are not really handy with repairing stuff, I think it is the same thing as before.